Tennessee Titans versus the Baltimore Ravens. Both teams coming off losses. Both teams frustrated. To me, this all comes down to, can the struggling Tennessee Titans defense hold the struggling Baltimore Ravens offense? And when I say struggling, I mean specifically in the passing game. You get you with fantasy projections here. Although Tannehill, although this matchup is not great against Baltimore, I do have him as a startable player. Derrick Henry, I know how good Baltimore is against the run, but he's going to get volume, so I would start Derrick Henry this week with no problems. I mean, who are you going to start over him? You know, I love J.D. McKissick. I think McKissick might very well outscore Travis Henry this week. Travis Henry? Am I getting that right? No.
Oh, that's the
Derrick
old
Henry.
Bills. I think Henry might
have I
played
said
for the
that
Titans
multiple
at one point.
times? Have I said Travis
I don't
multiple
think so,
times?
but,
Yeah, I knew it was wrong.
I can look at the stats on my computer anyway.
Yeah,
So.
Derrick Henry anyway. McKissick might outscore Derrick Henry this week, but I would never make that play. A.J. Brown, you start him. David, you're just talking about how Baltimore hasn't been shutting down the number one receiving option. Corey Davis, I believe you start as well. And Jonnu Smith, I think you start. I don't think you're getting great weeks from these guys, but I do start them. For the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson, definitely a start. One of my more favorite quarterbacks of the week. I don't love the running backs, but I would start Dobbins and probably nobody else. I don't like how Ingram and Edwards kind of minimize each other's value at this point. Dobbins should be getting the lion's share of the touches. Is that actually going to happen? I don't really know. Marquise Brown, it's a ballsy start. You could do it, but I really think this is a week that Andrews gets into the end zone, so I like him a lot more. Take it away, David.
It hurts talking about my Ravens right now. It's a tough time to talk about the Ravens, so I'm going to talk about the Titans first. You already mentioned A.J. Brown. Got to start him because we talked about the Ravens. They've been limiting the overall pass volume, but they've been allowing the number one wide receivers to get theirs, which is a little bit confusing considering the name reputation Marlon Humphreys garnered, but they've been allowing number one wide receivers to put up fantasy points, so you absolutely don't overthink A.J. Brown. He's a start. I'm going to go against you here, and I'm going to say Corey Davis and Jonnu Smith are both sits just for that reason, where we've seen the number one do it against Baltimore. The other guys, the volume's been limited a little bit. Don't love Tannehill this week. I mean, he hasn't been as good since Taylor Lewan went down, and that's been concerning. But other side of the ball, Baltimore, they've got injuries as well, and that's why I wouldn't panic too much about Derrick Henry, because you say, yeah, they have stopped the run well this year. They didn't stop it last night against Damian friggin' Harris, and I don't think Damian Harris is Derrick Henry. And a lot of that comes down to the fact Calais Campbell is out. He's going to be out again, I believe, next week. He's going to be out a couple weeks. He has been a major difference maker on that D-line for us this year. If you remember last year, the Ravens were not very good against the run. That was because we didn't have a Calais Campbell-level presence on that defensive line. He solved that issue a little bit this year. The issue has already returned now that he's missing games. Brandon Williams also was hurt last night against the New England Patriots, who is our 300 million-pound defensive tackle who stuffs the run. We'll see about him. He might miss another game. So Derrick Henry, don't overthink it. He's your stud. You play your studs.
You're right.
Baltimore, we don't have any studs anymore, unfortunately. Lamar Jackson isn't even a stud anymore in fantasy. You still start him. He's the only one who's an automatic start. Mark Andrews. Can I swear, Sean? I mean, I've dropped I hope so, because I've dropped like 3 or 4 talking about the Ravens. I mean, it is just Marquise Brown's a drop. Mark Ingram, why is he getting more touches than J.K. Dobbins in his first game back from injury? Why? You can't start J.K. Dobbins. Gus Edwards continues to lead the backfield in touches, but you can barely start him because he's only getting 7 to 10 touches a game. It's just a whole lot of going on with this team, and I don't know what to say. I'm just depressed about my Ravens all the way around.
Well, let's just get to the line then. We got Tennessee plus 6.5 versus Baltimore. Who you got?
6.5.
6.5.
6.5. I guess I'm taking the Titans.
Yeah, I'll take the Titans here too. This should be a get-right game for Baltimore, but I'm talking about this, man. I have look, Tennessee put Baltimore out in the playoffs last year. They know how to play them. Baltimore has to develop a down-the-field passing game.
Give J.K. Dobbins the ball.
Yes, that too.
Give him the ball.
Yeah, I agree, David. All right, this is an open wound, so let's just move it on. We got